Imagine waking up before the sun rises, when the world is still wrapped in silence, and the only light comes from stars beginning to fade on the horizon. This is how each day begins for Sarah and Jacob, a couple who chose to live completely differently from the rest of the modern world. They live in a rural Amish community where smartphones, cars, and electricity don't exist. Only the land, the animals, and the work of their own hands. Today we're going to explore the extraordinary routine of this couple who produce award-winning artisan cheeses, care for dozens of animals, and live a life of self-sufficiency that most people can't even imagine. Get ready to discover a lifestyle that challenges everything we know about happiness and fulfillment. Sarah's day begins at 4:30 in the morning. She lights kerosene lanterns that softly illuminate the rustic wooden kitchen. The wood stove was prepared the night before and now needs only a few kindling sticks to come back to life. While water heats for breakfast, she prepares bread dough that will be baked during the day. There is no rush. Every movement has purpose and history. The bread recipe comes from Sarah's grandmother, who learned it from her own grandmother. These are generations of knowledge passed down through gestures and measurements that never needed to be written down. Jacob is already in the barn when the first ray of sunlight touches the top of the silos. The dairy cows know him by the sound of his footsteps and begin to move before he even opens the door. He greets each one by name. Bessie, the matriarch of the herd, is always the first to be milked. Jacob learned to milk at 6 years old from his father, and now at 35, his fingers work with the same rhythm and precision. The warm milk flows into stainless steel buckets with a musical sound that echoes through the barn. This milk is the foundation of everything they create. It's not just a product. It's the result of careful animal husbandry, proper nutrition, and deep respect for the creatures under their care. By 6 in the morning, Sarah joins Jacob in the dairy room attached to the barn. This is where the magic of cheese-making happens. They've converted a section of the old barn into a proper cheese production facility, though it looks nothing like a modern factory. Everything is spotlessly clean, but unmistakably handmade. Large copper pots sit on a wood-fired heating system. Wooden aging shelves line the walls. The smell is incredible, a mixture of fresh milk, aging cheese, and the sweet scent of hay from the barn next door. Sarah pours the morning's milk into the copper pot and begins the careful process of heating it to exactly the right temperature. There are no digital thermometers here. She uses a traditional dairy thermometer and decades of experience to know when the milk is ready. Jacob adds the cultures and rennet, ingredients they source from other Amish communities who specialize in producing them. They stir slowly and deliberately, watching for the exact moment when the milk begins to coagulate. This moment cannot be rushed. Some cheeses require hours of careful attention before the curds are ready to be cut. The couple works in perfect synchronization. They don't need to speak much. After 12 years of marriage and working side by side every single day, they communicate through glances and small gestures. Sarah cuts the curds into precise cubes while Jacob prepares the molds. The whey is carefully separated and saved. Nothing goes to waste in this household. The whey will be fed to the pigs later, providing them with protein-rich nutrition. Once the curds are in the molds, the real waiting begins. The cheeses need to be pressed, turned, salted, and then aged. Some of their cheeses age for just a few weeks. Others sit on those wooden shelves for over a year, developing complex flavors that have won them recognition far beyond their small community. Food critics from major cities have somehow discovered their farm and written glowing reviews. Restaurants compete to get their cheese on the menu. But Sarah and Jacob don't make cheese for fame or fortune. They make it because it's what they do, what their families have done, and what they believe is their calling. While the morning batch of cheese is setting, there are dozens of other tasks demanding attention. The chickens need to be fed and eggs collected. The vegetable garden requires weeding and watering. The pigs need fresh bedding. The horses that pull their buggies need grooming and exercise. The list never ends, but somehow it never feels overwhelming. There's a rhythm to this life that modern schedules can't replicate. Jacob heads to the vegetable garden with a wooden wheelbarrow. They grow everything they eat during the summer months and preserve enough to last through winter. Tomatoes, beans, squash, potatoes, carrots, onions, herbs, and dozens of other varieties fill the half-acre plot. He works the soil with hand tools, no tractors or machines. It takes longer, but the connection to the earth feels more real. He can feel the quality of the soil, notice small changes in moisture, and spot problems before they become serious. This intimate knowledge of their land makes them better farmers. Sarah spends her late morning in the kitchen, the heart of their home. She's preparing lunch, but she's also making butter from yesterday's cream, canning tomatoes from the garden, and baking 6 loaves of bread in the wood oven. The kitchen's hot, especially in summer, but she moves through it with practiced efficiency. There's no air conditioning to provide relief, just open windows and the occasional breeze. She wouldn't trade this for anything. The satisfaction of creating everything from scratch, of knowing exactly where every ingredient comes from, filled her with a sense of purpose that no career in the modern world could match. Lunch is eaten together at noon sharp. It's a simple but hearty meal. Fresh bread with homemade butter, vegetable soup from the garden, sliced cheese from last month's batch, and cold milk. They sit at a handmade wooden table in a room free from distractions. No television news, no phones buzzing, no notifications. Just conversation about the morning's work and plans for the afternoon. This daily connection, this complete presence with each other, is one of the greatest gifts of their lifestyle. The afternoon brings different tasks. Today, Jacob is repairing a section of fence that the horses damaged. He works with wood and tools that have been maintained and passed down through generations. There's something meditative about this kind of work. Measuring, cutting, fitting each board precisely. Building something that will last years. In a world of disposable everything, the Amish commitment to quality and longevity stands out. They don't build things to replace them in a few years. They build them to last lifetimes. Sarah returns to the cheese room to turn and salt the cheeses that are in the early stages of aging. She inspects each one carefully, looking for any signs of unwanted mold or problems in development. Her trained eye can spot issues that would be invisible to most people. She makes notes in a handwritten ledger, tracking which batches were made on which days, what cultures were used, and how they're developing. This record-keeping might seem old-fashioned, but it's incredibly effective. She can look back years and understand exactly why a particular batch turned out exceptional or why another didn't meet their standards. As the afternoon progresses, neighbors start to arrive. The Amish community is tightly knit, and people help each other constantly. Today, several families are coming to help Jacob with a larger project he's been planning for months. They're building a new storage barn for hay and equipment. In the Amish tradition, this kind of major construction is done communally. Dozens of men arrive with their tools, and within hours, the frame of the barn begins to rise. The women gather in Sarah's kitchen, helping prepare food for the workers and catching up on community news. Children run around playing traditional games, completely content without tablets or video games. This sense of community is one of the most striking aspects of Amish life. No one struggles alone. If someone gets sick, the community cares for their family and farm. If someone needs a barn built, everyone shows up to help. There are no bills sent, no favors tallied. It's simply understood that we take care of each other. This creates a safety net and support system that modern society has largely lost. By early evening, the barn frame is complete and the helpers begin to head home to tend to their own animals and chores. Sarah and Jacob walk through their property together, checking on everything one final time before dark. The cows are contentedly grazing in the pasture. The chickens have put themselves to bed in the coop. The pigs are settled in for the night. The garden looks healthy and productive. Everything is as it should be. Dinner is another simple but satisfying meal eaten by lamplight. They talk about the day, about the new barn, about how the cheese batches are progressing. After dinner, there might be time for reading or handwork. Sarah often does quilting or mending in the evening. Jacob might work on small woodworking projects. These quiet evenings are peaceful in a way that's hard to describe to someone who's never experienced life without constant digital stimulation. By 9 o'clock, they're ready for bed.